How's it going and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be looking at some of the Heisman candidates for the 2024 season. Um, Before we get into the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. Let's get into the video. First up on the Heisman candidates list is none other than Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe. His redshirt sophomore season this past year, I believe. Um, 2023 proved to be quite the season. Ups and downs for Jalen Milroe. Got benched at the beginning of the year. Obviously, that didn't last too long. He came right back in and finished sixth in Heisman voting. Didn't have as productive as a season as some of the other Heisman candidates had, obviously, but we're really looking for him to take a step forward in the running game as well as the passing game. Definitely a strength of his is that mobility of his. He is very fast and he is very big and lean. He can break tackles as well as make people miss, which is a very good aspect of a game that most mobile quarterbacks don't have. But one of my favorite things that I think gets overlooked because of his mobility is his deep throws. His deep accuracy and his deep ball is probably the strongest part of his game in my eyes, and I think that's going to really set him apart heading into this 2024 season. Now, here's a guy heading into his sixth season, transferring from UCF to Oklahoma, and now he's going to finish out his college career at Oregon, where he has started um, all six, or he's going to be starting all 6 seasons in his collegiate career outside of a injury-shortened season in 2021 for UCF, which allowed him to get the 6th year of eligibility outside of the COVID year. This guy's production really took a jump up in 2022 and 2023 with Oklahoma. Obviously, the spread offense favors the quarterbacks. You see a lot of quarterbacks from Oklahoma. Um, Obviously, finish highly in the Heisman voting. I'm not exactly sure where he finished. I'm not sure if he was up there at all, but almost 3,700 passing yards, 30 touchdowns is a very productive season for a quarterback, along with 12 rushing touchdowns. So 42 total touchdowns is always going to get you in contention. I'd like to see him continue to improve. He's improved every season of his collegiate career. You'd like to see that continue at Oregon. I'm hoping to see him excel. It is going to be harder. Oregon is moving to the Big Ten. Those Big Ten defenses are very tough. All right, let's move on to one of my favorite players in college football, Noah Fifita. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Arizona quarterback. Arizona took a huge step forward this past season, and Fifita was a huge part of that. Throwing for almost 3,000 yards and 25 touchdowns. Not much of a scrambler, so a pocket passing quarterback, 100%. But what he does in the pocket is very impressive. He gets the ball out very quickly, doesn't really allow that pass rush to hit home, which helps his offensive line out a lot. But he's a very quick decision maker, very talented in that short to intermediate area. Haven't really seen what he can do in the deep throw game too much, but like I said, very good decision maker. He can pick up yards with his feet when he needs to, but he doesn't really do it too often because he doesn't really need to be completely honest. He shows very good signs of throwing with anticipation as well, which is something that he needed to do in the Arizona offense a lot. Throwing those obvious intermediate outs and leading receivers on deeper throws is something that he does well. He's a very complete passer, and you like to see him take another step forward. Obviously, Arizona doesn't have the most talent around him, but what he did with the team that he had was very impressive, and you like to see him take another jump up in 2024. Next up on the Heisman candidates list is going to be Quinn Ewers. He had a very productive 2023 season after a not so impressive 2022 season where he only threw for 2,200 yards, 15 touchdowns. He really took jumps up in yards and touchdowns production this past season. A lot of it was to do with just getting more comfortable with this offense as well as taking advantage of the weapons that he had. Quinn Ewers really has the arm talent to make every single throw. He can mix in accuracy and throw power, and he has the ability to be more mobile. Obviously, not to the level of guys like Jalen Milroe, um, but still has the ability to get outside the pocket and extend the play. He is a very smart quarterback. I would say maybe one of the smarter quarterbacks in college football heading into this next season. And he is very good in high pressure situations. Um, and what I mean by that is just when the pocket collapses, he can still, he still has the ability to step up and make those tough throws. He's gonna need to have a very productive season passing because his running stats aren't gonna be enough to compete with guys like Jalen Milroe. So look for him to basically air raid this offense out if he is going to make a case for the Heisman. You don't see pocket passers win it very often unless you're, a guy like Joe Burrow. So you're going to need to see a pretty fantastic season if he's going to win the Heisman. But it is worth noting because I would say he's probably the best quarterback in the country heading into the 2024 season. Heading into the next guy on our list, Carson Beck of Georgia. I love Carson Beck the more I watch him. This guy is probably the most gifted passer, most naturally gifted passer in the country. I personally think he would easily make a case after this season to be the number one overall draft pick in the next year's draft, depending on whose team gets it, obviously. Um, Super productive year in 2023. 3,900, almost 4,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, and he added on 4 rushing touchdowns on top of that. So if you're keeping track, that's 28 total touchdowns, and I don't really think he reached his full potential. I think he's better than Stetson Bennett was, and that's saying something because Stetson Bennett was a great facilitator of this Georgia offense. I think Carson Beck has the ability to not just facilitate the offense, but really take it a step above where it has been. But yeah, Carson Beck, probably the most gifted passer. Um, it doesn't really seem like he has the physicality, but his body is a quarterback size. He's 6'4", 220. He's got that really strong throw power. He has the ability to make throws under pressure, which is something you love to see out of a guy that's more of a pocket passer like him. But I can certainly see him taking a step up and putting up some very, very jaw-dropping numbers in 2024 and making a case for his Heisman candidacy. All right, next we're going to be talking about the fifth-year senior transfer to Ohio State, Will Howard. Now, Howard is a much bigger body. He's probably the biggest quarterback that we're going to be talking about today. 6'4", 235 pounds, which is one of more. It's more of what you consider a pocket passer to be in, you know, older traditional pocket passing times. It's not really something that's required anymore, but it's very helpful for him in this Ohio State offense. It's somewhat similar to the Kansas State offense. He has experience playing under center, which in a run-heavy offense like Ohio State, that's going to be happening a lot. And with a lot of, play action playing off those runs, it requires him to kind of reset after the play action, kind of get a feel for the defense. He has experience with that at Kansas State, which is going to help him a lot. He has that NFL starter caliber arm that you like to see, and at Ohio State, you're going to need that with huge targets like Jeremiah Smith and the other guy who just came back. I'm blanking on his name. Um, but yeah, even with that big body, he's very able to maneuver around the pocket, buy extra time, find open passing windows, and he is not afraid to make those tight window throws, which you'll see some interceptions, but more than likely with his talent, you're going to see a lot of touchdowns and a lot of big throws as well. At Kansas State, wasn't extremely productive like you want to see a Heisman candidate, but these Ohio State guys, they're in such a good offense that you're going to see those numbers elevate a ton, and it's going to help his draft stock a ton. So, Will Howard, you're going to see a big jump in yards, touchdowns. His interceptions might be a little iffy. It might turn you off a little bit on him, but he's more of that gunslinger prototype. You're going to see a lot of big plays, whether it's for the offense or for the defense. I'm a fan of Will Howard. I wish he didn't go to Ohio State. I'm a Michigan fan, so It is what it is. I hope he sucks. I wanted to finish out with a non-quarterback, Luther Burden. This guy is probably the top receiver in college football. We'll see how some of these recruits look, but I'm a really big fan of Luther Burden. Fantastic after the catch. Um, Very serviceable hands, but he has incredible route running. He has very talented playmaking ability after the catch, like I said. He's like a violent runner. Kind of reminds me of a guy like Justin Jefferson. He's very good at pretty much all aspects of the receiving games, working short, working intermediate, and his ball tracking on deep balls might be the even the best aspect of his game, even though that's not what he was required to do as much at Missouri. As a sophomore this past season, he played 12 games. I think he got hurt for 1 or 2 games in their season, which held him back a little bit, but 83 catches, 1,200 yards, and I believe he finished with 9 touchdowns. So, very good season out of a wide receiver. But obviously, if you want to win the Heisman, you got to have some incredible numbers. They're returning Brady Cook at their quarterback position. You like to see both of them take steps up. Obviously, Luther Burden is fantastic as it is, but you're going to need to see some pretty incredible numbers for a wide receiver to win Heisman. Obviously, Devontae Smith did it, but that was in a COVID-shortened season where half the conferences didn't play all their games. And a lot of people would even argue that Devontae Smith shouldn't have gotten it. But neither here nor there. Luther Burden is a fantastic player, definitely Blitnikoff favorite. I could see a possibility of him winning the Heisman if these other quarterbacks don't perform as well as they maybe should. Realizing that I didn't record an outro for this video, if you liked it, please leave a like and subscribe. If you made it this far, you might as well. If you can hear me yap for 13 minutes, you might as well do it. So yeah, leave a like. I love you. That's all.